But if I had to sum it up, I'd have to say it's the beauty of the outdoors, the mountains, and the sense of challenge. I guess also the sense of adventure, and then it's the personal relationships that you develop in the course of climbing with friends, and particularly when you go on lengthy expeditions. You know, not only the expedition members, and particularly the people of the foreign countries that you might be climbing in. I remember when I finally got to the point where I climbed above the Hillary Step, and just a few minutes after that point, you get to a vantage where you're less than, I'd say, 50 vertical feet from the summit, and it's the first time you can actually see the real summit. I mean, you just look at it, and I think it was at that moment that I knew I was going to make the top. Up to that point in time, I tried to put the whole notion out of my mind, because, you know, with Everest, you just never know. But once I was above the Hillary Step, it was, you know, about 7 a.m. in the morning, or 7 in the morning, cloudless day at that point in time. You know, there's really nothing to you know, turn you back at that point. And I remember exactly what I thought. There was this momentary wave of emotion that swept over me, and I thought all of these years of effort, because by that time it was the third expedition over about a 9-year period, and I thought all these years of effort for this one moment in time, it was emotional, but then it just swept away, and I was just kind of awestruck by the surroundings, but after that point, you know, I waited on the top nearly an hour for the rest of my teammates to join me, and then I remember thinking, boy, most of the accidents occur on the way down, and actually huddled the team around together and said, you know, we've got a been very successful up to this point in time, but let's not lose it now. Let's really concentrate. And I remember just then at that point really thinking about, okay, you're only halfway there. Now it's time to get down. And it was totally focused on the descent at that point. And I remember I always had this dream, well, someday I want to go back and, you know, just maybe either climb some mountain or get to some hillside and look at the mountain and see if, you know, somehow it felt different. Had it lost its allure or just whatever. And finally, 3 years ago, a couple of us got this idea that, well, let's go back and you know, we're not getting any younger, we're all in our 50s, let's reunite with some of our Sherpas and let's attempt Choyoyu, which is the 6th highest mountain in the world. And the interesting thing about Choyoyu is that until you get to the very, very summit of the mountain, you can't see Mount Everest. It's actually behind. So I thought, well, gosh, if I get to the top of Choyoyu, I can finally look at Everest from the standpoint of having stood on its summit. And sure enough, made the top. And I remember getting to the summit and looking, and there was Mount Everest, you know, an old friend, if you will. But maybe in some respects I'd waited too long, because I looked at the mountain and I just thought, my God, it's so high. It just looks so incredible. It's just, you know, just this awesome view of the mountain. And in some respects I couldn't relate to it anymore. It was just like it was this, yeah, I remember vividly, you know, standing on its summit and you know, climbing the Hillary Step and you know, a couple of key features along the route. But it almost was like it had happened in a different lifetime. And I just remember thinking, you know, I was fortunate to do it when I did it, but I don't think I could ever do it again.